Hello and welcome to another episode of Pipeline to Profitability. I'm Alan Ferguson. This podcast is proudly sponsored by Service Success Academy. Today, we have Danielle Putnam, who is the president of the New Flat Rate. Danielle comes from a long family line of contractors and is dedicated to help grow the industry she grew up in and loves. As a public speaker, she promotes career paths in home services. She's also honoured to serve as an advisory board member for Women in HVACR and a board member for the EGIA Foundation to help promote more women in the industry. I've known Danielle for a long time through our mutual connection with Service Roundtable, and really honoured to have her on the podcast. Let's bring her in, eh? Welcome to the podcast, Danielle. It really great to have you here, and I'm really excited to learn a little bit about the New Flat Rate, which is an amazing product. Your involvement with our mutual friends at Service World Expo, and just maybe a little bit about what's going on in your life. So welcome.
Hey, thanks, Alan. Thanks so much for having me. It's really a pleasure to be here with you today. When you reached out, I was thrilled and honored. I was like, what? You're going to have me on the show? Thank you. So it's
Absolutely.
great to be here. Yeah, fun.
Yeah.
So what's going on? I'm the president of the New Flat Rate. And so my day-to-day is running the operations of the business. And I guess sometimes so many people are like, especially around town, oh, you're so busy, you're so busy. I'm like, I don't know, am I? I mean, everybody's as busy as they want to be. I have four wonderful children. And what's important to me in this season of life, because they're young, is spending time with them. So I work hard during the day, but I work really hard to maximize my time with my family. And so I've been trying to outsource everything that I can, like laundry. We can talk about all kinds of things, but I really, and that's helped me a lot in business too. And so if we can talk about all sorts of things today, I know, but one thing that's really helping me is to look at what are my priorities, where's my business going, and setting a real strong target and making sure the whole team knows like this is our goal for the year. And things that don't align with that, we're saying no to. And I'm learning that in my personal life and my business life. And then when you're like, okay, we're going to hit this target, what can we outsource to make sure that that happens? It's created a lot of freedom and I love it.
That's fantastic. So now I've known your dad Rodney for many years. We go to all the same events. I've probably known you for as many years. And just
Yeah.
anything to do with flat rate pricing. I think I was one of the early innovators with flat rate pricing in Australia. We never ventured onto your product. I probably wish I had of, but flat rate pricing is just such an important way for a service company to run. So maybe I think for anyone that's unaware of the new flat rate, maybe we'll jump into the concept behind it. I mean, I understand it, but I think that you will do a better job of explaining what is the new flat rate and how does it work?
Oh, cool. Well, thanks for the opportunity to even say, we started 12 years ago, Alan, and so I've loved running into you at shows, and you were friends with my dad, and you guys were friends with me too, and it's always been so fun, and you're so welcoming. So thank you. We started 12 years ago because my dad was a contractor, my brothers are contractors, and the struggle of running a profitable business. It was just such a very seasonal, right? They were HVAC, electrical, and plumbing for a while, and then sold off the electrical and plumbing, and primarily HVAC, just having a hard time, with the overhead and the struggles of the business. And so we fell upon this menu because my brother Matt running service calls finally began to be very, very profitable. My dad had downsized the business, and they'd moved from their big shop. They had they were the largest company in the area, and they downsized everything, moved back into the basement in my parents' house, and had one service tech, which was my brother. And that year, my dad, my brother, and a sister answering the phone did $1 million in revenue. And that was a very big deal because that's a very small company and they were very profitable. So they're like, how did we do this? So my dad started to look at all the service tickets that my brother had been doing, and he'd been handwriting options for all the homeowners, and they were just selecting the level of service that they wanted. So when we started this, it was because we had found some freedom in the contracting world and we wanted to share it with other people. It's like, wow, if we can get our cash flow right and have some cash in the bank, then we can grow from a position of strength. So the new flat rate was a concept of, hey, there was time and material a long time ago. Then all of a sudden there was flat rate and people started to make some money with that. Well, the new flat rate is 5 different levels. We've got 5 options on any service or repair. And that's electrical, plumbing, HVAC, and equipment, IAQ. And Alan, we added chimneys this past year too. So that's exciting. I know chimney people are really fun.
Garage
But
doors.
right, that's next. That's next.
Mm.
So with our system, it's an app. I remember the days we were a printed book, and now we're an app so that a technician can just walk into the home and do the diagnosis and follow the index, choose the page that they want to present to the customer, and all the options are already built for him. So it's all about taking that sales pressure off of the technician so he can just present the options to the homeowner and say, what should we do? The homeowner takes a look, asks a question or two, and usually makes their decision within 15 seconds.
Okay.
So I'll pause there. The power of, wait a minute, there's no more pressure on the tech. All of a sudden, this pricing system's done for you. And homeowners, 80% of the time, are choosing an option above a standard flat rate. So it's very simple, done for you. And all of a sudden, the boss isn't getting calls all day long saying, what should I charge for this?
Yeah, look, for years I've been an advocate of giving customers plenty of solutions based on their problem. And look, I used to require about 6 options for every service call. And if a customer's calling you out for multiple services, let's say we were plumbing, electrical, and air conditioning, so they might have multiple services. They're going to be more options. But do you feel that the option, leaving the options with the customer is makes it easy for the technicians, that because most technicians didn't get into the industry to sell, right? They just want to go out there and plumb, or they want to go out there and fix air conditioning systems. So is the new flat rate an easier way for the technician just to because we're all in sales, whether you believe it or not, and as I said, a lot of techs, they resist that. I didn't get into this industry to sell. So does the new flat rate help the average technician to make more sales?
You paved the road right there for me. Yes, it does. You know what? That's what's so cool is I love hearing the testimonies from technicians saying, hey, I was able to, do a great job and do quality work and fix something that was really difficult. And the customer was so happy and they're making more money, right? They're being able to spend more time doing what they love and they're making more money. The sales pressure's off of them. And so they're so happy. But yes, the technician doesn't have that sales pressure. They just follow a script. We're all about a process, a script. And the reason for the script too, Alan, is so that they don't have to feel uncomfortable stumbling over their words of what should I say to the customer? How should I present this to them? We teach them a script that they can memorize. And then it's the following the script. Hey, Mr. Customer, I'm a little concerned. I found found the problem, but don't worry, I have some options. Would you like to go over them now? And so my top options, my most permanent, my most premium, allows me to take my time, do a great job, and give you a better warranty. And then they can present the options and the customer's eyes go to price. But then the technician, what we hear more and more, and you probably do too, nobody wants to feel, and I don't want to say stupid, but nobody wants to feel embarrassed, right? They don't want to feel like they're stumbling on things. And so if they don't feel like they're a confident salesperson, then they feel kind of insignificant in front of the customer. And so this gives them the confident boost to be in front of the customer to present the options and not have to have that uncomfortable sales discussion.
Yeah, no, I like that. And look, I've been an advocate of this for many years, is whatever we can do to make it easier for the technician to, from his opinion, he's not a sales guy, but as I said, we have to make sales, otherwise we don't have a company. And anything we can do. I mean, I've been to some great companies, over the last year that, and there seems to be a change coming in the way that companies are now running calls. And I know you can probably see all that change with some of the great software products out there and
Hmm.
AI
Hmm.
knocking on the door, and I think that's going to
Yeah.
sneak up on us really quickly.
Hmm.
So, with regards to how we run calls and how we price our jobs, I'm sure you and Rodney and Matt discussed this. Where do you think the industry is heading in this space? I mean, do you see some fairly drastic changes to the way we run calls, the way we run our businesses over the coming years?
Yes. Right. And I am all 100% pro, let's make sure we all keep our jobs and we always need a contractor and we always need a technician. But at the same time, we know the talks, and then people say, okay, well, manufacturers are trying to make plug and plays, and then Amazon's trying to ship everything with these, drones, and all of a sudden we're not going to need, these technicians. We're using video and we're using AI. So maybe not, but not today,
No,
right? So I mean, change is coming, but there's still going to be a place for all of us, and so we might have to adapt and evolve. But by no means is our world going away tomorrow. So AI, what I've seen from it, Alan, I don't know everything about it. There's people on the call probably way more versed in it than I, but it still needs humanization. And so AI can do so much and think a little bit, but then at the end of the day, I've seen some missed creativity. And it's like it pushes it this far, and then I'm like, but you still need my brain to think a little bit more. And that gives me hope that it's not taken over too quickly. But by all means, it's coming in. And in some parts, especially with the software companies, everybody's can I name some?
sure, sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, now everybody's got a buzz about Sarah because of their dispatching, right? Their automatic dispatching and prioritizing so that you don't have to worry about the dispatcher, prioritizing calls. The software does it for them. Very cool, right? I think that's really cool. And the same in our space with pricing. Is pricing going to be on the contractor's website so that the homeowner can choose what they want to pay before the tech comes out there? Absolutely. And so I think that when we see things that are encroaching on our space, it's important to take a look and embrace them enough to understand and to consider, is this something that I can be a part of? Or do I really want to fight an uphill battle? Some of it is coming into the space. And, I think that some of it we need to embrace. I'm not a huge fan. I read an article by Matt Michelle this week on TikTok, right? I don't know if you saw this one. And it was from March, I think, and it was in contracting business. And he says, hey, all you contractors, make your own decisions, but delete TikTok right now. And he made so many great claims for it. And I did. I was like, got it done. I got on there and deleted TikTok. He's like, we don't have to let everything get in there. So there's certain things that I'm like, let me pause because you had a comment.
Yeah, no, I'm fascinated by this conversation. Look, I do work with Sarah and Billy Stevens, and I'm just
Mhm.
absolutely blown away by what that product
Yeah.
is actually doing. And look,
Yeah.
if someone was to say to me, what is the main what's the key point of Sarah that's actually going to make business more profitable? It's all about efficiencies. And yes, unfortunately, it does it does mean that a company can have a lot less admin, a lot less office
Mhm.
staff, because the smart scheduling. You think about
Mhm.
how easy is it to use, and I use Uber a lot.
Yeah.
What if you could book a technician like Uber? What if you could
Mhm.
know within an hour when your technician's going to arrive? And I'm just looking at the change that's coming, especially in that space.
Mhm.
And I don't know too much about the other software products. I know they're good, but I do know. But look, back to the AI conversation. Um, I'm of a firm belief that it's coming at us quickly. And I
Mhm.
believe that those that contractors that get on board and go with it and not fight it will do a lot better.
Yeah.
And look, just
Mhm.
one of the conversations I had with Corey Berrier, who is someone that I've been working with, who's very intelligent in this space, and he said, "Look, just for now, what if the CSR who answers the call was able to grab all the information, every single piece of information that is needed just by having it, using AI to pull that
Yeah.
information at hand. But the other thing, I've been watching how AI now can actually replace outbound callers. It can get
Yeah.
onto a. We actually had I had a Zoom call a
Yeah.
few weeks ago where an AI bot came into the Zoom call and interacted and was asking me questions, and I was talking to it. Um, it's AI, not by the voice, but by the delay in response time. So
Wow.
um, it's getting that close
Yeah.
to human that you could be in a conversation with an AI bot and not even know it. And I don't think that's far away. So um,
Yeah.
and I look at a lot of companies are resisting it. They'll AI
Hmm.
never replace us. I mean, how can AI replace a service technician tuning an air
Hmm.
conditioning system and that? But I just think if it's here to help us to grow, become
Hmm.
more efficient, because with Billy and Sarah becoming more efficient in your company, you
Yeah.
become profitable. You can be more competitive because
Hmm.
it's just it's crazy how fast it's moving. But look, as long
Yeah.
as we and look, we play with with Service Roundtable, and I'd love to
Hmm.
talk about an upcoming event that you guys have
Yeah.
partnered with. But we I think the fact that we work with the top, let's call it the top 5% of the industry, it might be
Hmm.
even less than that, but we do get to mix with the best of the best, and I think it's quite good for us all to learn from groups like
Hmm.
Service Roundtable, Service Nation, Service World, which is
Hmm.
I'm not too sure where it is. I think it's in
Phoenix.
Phoenix, Arizona. Yeah. So yeah, I'd love your thoughts on that, because you've been part of.
Mhm.
I see you at all the great events. So
Yeah.
yeah, maybe we'll discuss that for a little bit, Danielle.
Yeah, cool. Well, Service World Expo, we partnered with them this year. Business Uncensored is the annual conference that we at the New Flat Rate hold. And we started it a couple years ago, the Business Uncensored, because we wanted our members to get together, to have that camaraderie, to share what's working, what's not together. We wanted them to have a safe space to do that. And it was so powerful that we opened it up and started inviting, all contractors. Well, Service World Expo, I know, it's an incredible event, right? It's a very big, fun, robust event. They've got great speakers, great breakouts, a great expo hall with incredible technology that you need to go to see. And so our members kind of kept complaining, like, oh, we're coming to Business Uncensored, and 2 weeks later, we're going to Service World Expo. And that's tough when you're running a contracting business to commit to, taking time out like that. And it's scary. So Service World, it was Liz Patrick. You remember Liz?
I sure do.
Right. I love Liz. Liz kept saying for years, Danielle, why don't we just have our show together? Why don't you just have your show with us? And we didn't quite understand how that would work, right? And
Hmm.
we've had to learn in the industry. And I think this is just a good point to remind all of us that sometimes we put up these walls thinking that everybody wants to steal our stuff. And, oh, we didn't always feel like we can trust everybody. And so when she first started saying, hey, let's do the event together, I think here at the New Flat Rate, we thought, well, Business Uncensored isn't as big as Service World. So how would that work? And finally, this past year, I said, Rodney, let's get on a plane. Let's go out there and meet with Tom Peregrino. So in January, we flew out to Texas. We sat down to say, hey, could we actually combine these events, and what would it look like? And it was so awesome, because we're sitting in there, I'll never forget. And I'm like, so, should we combine these events? And they just slid something right across the table. And they're like, ah, we got your space. It's right here. And they were ready. And it was a fun moment of, yeah, let's do this. Let's go in together. Let's trust each other, and let's make something better for everybody, and combine forces so that we can have a bigger event, more people there. They don't have to choose between the two in their travels. So you're going to get what you love about Service World, right? You're still going to get the large general sessions, the smaller breakouts, the connections, the parties, the expo hall. But then Business Uncensored, we're starting a day early. And so it's going to be a full day of workshop planning, process development, process building, and it's open to everybody that's registered for the show. So really, it's a 2-for-1, Ellen. It's only one rate to get both incredible conferences. And I've got a promo code I'd love to share with your audience.
That'd be fantastic. We're going to put as much information about you guys, new flat rate, anything we can give to the industry that will benefit them. A topic that I'd also like to jump into, I know you're an advocate of this, is I know there's a lot of women in the industry, okay? Not so much down under. It's sort of we've hired women technicians, but I know you're a part of this, and I don't know what do we need to do to get more women in this great industry? And I know you might like to discuss some of the great groups that you're associated with, but I don't know. I just thought you would be a great person to venture onto this subject.
Cool. Well, in 2019, I was the president of Women in HVACR, and I've been involved with them since the Comfort Tech days back in like 2012 when I saw a sign that said Women in HVACR. And I thought, why wasn't I invited? I'm a woman. And so back then it was a little conference room of maybe 30 of us and then 60 of us. And now we get together at our conference and there's over 300 of us. And it's hard for us to find spaces. But there's, more than that, there's thousands in the group. So Women in HVACR is a great organization. And now there's a Women in Plumbing that is up and coming as well. And they're doing some great things too. So I want to let people know to look for them. They're really, really up and coming and kind of working with women in HVAC. But to bring more people in, we've got to let women know that there's a place for them. When we are advertising, letting them know, hey, we're looking for women too. And again, you guys know this, it's not just for technicians or, it could be in the office or it could be in the field. But writing our ads in a way that lets them know, or maybe adding a benefit of, hey, we can help with childcare, because that's a big deal. And it's not, in different states, it's different in here in the state of Georgia. And I like to say this because not everybody knows, but there's a 100% tax credit for childcare here. And so for all of our employees, we can provide 100% childcare as long as they're in a Georgia accredited daycare. And so that's a big benefit to our team. And I know other states, some of them might be 75%, but there's got to be others that are 100% too. And so making some changes in your ads so that it's a little bit more welcoming to the women, and they are loyal. Like, women will join your team and be loyal forever. And so asking any women that are in your workplace, hey, who do you know? Do you have any friends looking for a job? Do you have anybody that you could introduce to us? And so again, I'm sure so many of you do, but not everybody does have an employee referral program in their company. So the employees always need to know, hey, if you bring somebody to us and we hire them, you get X amount for a referral bonus, right? And that helps them to bring in their friends. But especially asking the women, who do you know? Who are your friends? Who could you invite here that would like to work with us? I think is an easy place to start.
Fantastic. I had the pleasure to go into a couple of great companies in Dallas. I dropped in and saw Tom Peregrino, who's a great guy, and I consider him a friend, and spent some time with Strip Matter, Joe, and Frymeyer, where they're merged together. And they've got some really, really dynamic female technicians there. And I got into a conversation with one of the, I can't remember the lovely girl's name, but I thought, wow, like, when it comes to sales and service, there's nothing like, I get it. Climbing in a hot roof is tough for anyone, male or female. But when it comes to service sales, there's no reason why there shouldn't be more women in this great industry. And it's not an area that I've ever pushed much, because in Australia, because we were primarily plumbing, and there's not that many ladies in plumbing. I know there's more in air conditioning, but I just think it's such a great industry. It's nearly recession proof. It's not going to be, technician's job is not going to get replaced by AI. AI, if anything, is going to assist to make it easier. And I don't know, whatever we can do to try to encourage more ladies in the industry, I think would be fantastic.
Yeah, I do too. I recently joined the EGIA Foundation, and we have a scholarship program. And so they asked for those of us on the foundation board to help to review all the candidates. And so I personally reviewed 27 candidates last Friday, and only one of them was a female. And Alan, I wanted to give her the scholarship. I mean, she like won the diversity card right there. She's the only female. And of course, they want more females to get the scholarship, right? So I'm like, girl, you have this in the bucket just because of your gender. But she couldn't even try. Like, she didn't do the application. She didn't submit a headshot or a video. Like, she didn't submit a transcript. I'm like, it's not hard. So that's another thing, is if we can help educate the tech schools and where women are, that there are scholarships available for you to help you, and we want you. And so you have a higher probability of getting a scholarship just because you're a woman right now. But you gotta, like, follow the 3 steps. There's 3 questions, like, just
Yeah.
submit the 3 things, that I was like, sorry, you can't have it.
People do what people do, and just on
Mhm.
on that, with Joe Cunningham, my business partner in Houston,
Yeah.
has his HVAC school, and he has his plumbing school, and his plumbing teacher is female, and teaching all the guys how to plumb, right? So I think it's great.
Awesome.
I'm a massive advocate of it, and yeah, look, I'd love to encourage that. So Danielle,
Mhm.
have you got any? I'd love to get as much contact information how everyone can get a hold of you, but is there any special book or any recommendations that you're currently reading that you might like the listeners to grab a hold of?
Well, one that I love that I'd like to mention is called Built to Sell.
Mm,
Built to Sell. It's a little blue book, pretty quick read, and it's all about consolidating your product, right? So as a service provider, what you do. And so instead of trying to be all things for all people, being the best that you can at a few things so that you can scale with processes. So Built to Sell, I think it's a really powerful book, and I love it. Love to recommend it. But actually, Alan, this is a little bit different. The one I'm reading right now is called The Insanity of God.
okay.
And a fellow contractor from the industry, Dan Squires, got me onto this book. And it talks all about so many people starving around the world. And I focus so much on my business that I thought, I'm so thankful to be reading this book right now, because it reminds me of the importance of giving back. Like, it's easy to get into me, me, me. I'm just working on my business, building my business, making sure my kids are fed and loved. But there's a whole world out there that they need contributions from us too, right? So am I giving enough? Am I serving enough? Am I donating enough? It's just challenging me in that, am I giving back enough?
That's fantastic. Yeah. Well done on everything, Danielle. I'm really happy that you guys are going so well at the moment. Really looking forward to spending time with you in at Service World. It's October,
Yeah,
right? In
yes,
for
it
you.
is.
And
Yeah.
so, how do our listeners get a hold of you? What's the best way to get a hold of you guys? I'll put all your contact details and that in the show notes of the podcast. But what's the best way to get
Yeah.
a hold of either you or your great team at the New Flat?
Yeah, for sure. Well, our website's thenewflatrate.com. My email is Danielle at thenewflatrate.com. So by all means, you can give us a call, shoot me an email. The phone number is there on the website. And for Service World Expo, for anybody that wants to go, you can go to bu.thenewflatrate.com and enter in promo code BU2023. And it's a really special discounted rate of just $5.99. So I'm really excited about that. To be able to get 2 conferences for that rate is unheard of. It's awesome.
That's fantastic. Yeah. So really do appreciate your time, Danielle. And as I said, this is it's pricing, new flat rate pricing, everything is just such an integral part of the industry. And yeah, you've added great value to my listeners. So thank you.
Appreciate
And
appreciate the opportunity.
yeah, appreciate you joining me. And yeah, so this is another wrap for Pipeline to Profitability. And thank you very much, Danielle Putnam.